today's video, sorry for the camera angle, but we're gonna be making Kona in banana bread. And I'm reading the recipe from this book, Homemade Gifts and Treats by Muriel Miura. And I assumed this recipe, when I was looking at recipes for banana bread, I actually saw this like online on all recipes and all this stuff, if you need to find it later. But I will list the ingredients below. So the first thing we need is butter. So we have 1 cup of softened butter. This is not quite softened and it's a cold day, so I'm gonna just microwave it at like 5-second intervals just to soften it up a little bit more. Then we need 2 cups of sugar, about 3 cups ripe bananas, which is about 6, and 4 eggs, 2.5 cups of cake flour from the recipe, but I don't have cake flour, so I'm going to be using regular flour. 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 1 teaspoon salt. So the first thing we need to do is soften the butter. So I'm just going to microwave this really quick for a little bit. Okay, so I microwave my butter, not to melt it, but just to soften. And I forgot to mention, we're going to be adding in walnuts today. I'm going to toast them just for better flavor. And I did want to show you, so I love Costco, right? So I buy the big bag of walnuts, and you can also get a vacuum sealer. They have that at Costco, and it's so good because you can like open a big bag like this and then vacuum seal it and just seal the bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna use about 1 cup of nuts. So what you do is just recut it nice and straight so you can seal it again. Take out what you need. I'm just gonna throw some nuts on there. I think I'm gonna do 2 cups. I forgot. This recipe makes 2 pans. I think it's, what is this measurement? 9 by 5 by 3 pans. So it makes 2 of those. So when I've taken out what I need, I will go ahead and vacuum seal it. I guess I can show you. Okay, so I have my food saver. We love this thing. It's a little dirty, but you can use it with bags, like vacuum seal bags, or if you have like a pretty good quality bag, like a thick bag, like even a gallon size Ziploc bag works. You can totally seal this also. So you just put the end in here, close it, lock it, and press the vacuum. And you don't want to crush it, so when you think it's about ready, you just press seal and it'll seal it. Okay, and then when the light's off, you can open it and you have a sealed bag. And you can tell that it's airtight because, I mean, it's like shrink wrapped in there. So that's a really good tip if you buy in bulk. Okay, so I threw my nuts on a pan with parchment paper. I'm just gonna spread it around. And I already have my oven preheating to 350. So we're just gonna throw it in and kind of keep an eye on it. You don't want to burn it. So I'm gonna let that go for 5 minutes and then check on it after. Okay, so in my stand mixer, I just have a 6-quart stand mixer. And I use this special, like, I wouldn't say special whisk or beater, but I bought this separately and it's by beaterblade.com. This is so awesome because it mixes and it scrapes on the side. Like you'll see if you have a stand mixer and you use that mixer that it comes with, like there's stuff all on the side and you have to keep scraping down. So I love this. And you can just get it on Amazon. So I'm gonna put the 1 cup of butter in the bowl. And the 2 cups of sugar. Hopefully I didn't melt it too much, but we're gonna let this mix until it's light and fluffy, like when it's light yellow. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna put the dry ingredients in the bowl. Sorry, it's so noisy. Okay, so it's 2.5 cups of flour. And then I have these magnetic teaspoons and tablespoons, and I don't know, I love these. It keeps them together, but they're flat. So I need 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And I like that it comes with a circle one and an oval, because sometimes when you use the spice jars, it's really nice to have the oval. And whenever you measure things, make sure it's leveled. And I have salt. This is just Himalayan sea salt. That's why it's pink in this jar. So 1 teaspoon of salt. And it says to sift the flour, or the dry ingredients together, but I don't know, I never do that. I just use a whisk and then kind of mix it together well. And that should get out all the lumps and also mix the ingredients together. If you mix your dry ingredients and the wet ingredients separately, then when it comes time to mix it, you have to mix it less. And for cakes and breads, that's what you want. You don't want a tough cake or bread. So you don't want to activate and stretch the gluten in the flour, which will make it tough. Maybe I'll do the bananas while we're waiting. Okay. So I'm going to peel the bananas. I like to peel it down the side and then peel it this way. Because when we were in cooking school, we had to do so many bananas. So this is the fastest way, you don't have to like touch it. Okay, so I have a banana masher, but you can also use a fork and that'll be fine. It just might take a little bit longer. And we're just going to mash. If you have kids, this is like the fun thing for them to do so they can help. And I'm using kind of a wide bowl. That will help too. If you use one that's too like concave, it's hard to use a masher. And it's totally up to you if you want it like chunky, like you want little banana chunks in your bread, or if you want it kind of like mixed in. I kind of like it mixed in. I don't really like chunks of banana, so I'm gonna kind of mash it well. Okay, that looks good. And since we're prepping all the ingredients, I'm gonna go ahead and crack these eggs in a bowl. The walnuts are ready. And it's been about 12 minutes. So the pan is super hot. You can either use a knife on a cutting board. I'm just gonna chop it with this bench scraper. I don't want it like super small, but just like not whole pieces of walnut. And try to keep it in the middle of the parchment for easy transfer. And if you're giving bread to someone, just make sure they're not allergic to nuts. You just never know nowadays, right? But I'm making this for my family, so I'm not wearing gloves and I'm putting in nuts. Okay, so that looks good. So I'm just gonna keep it in the parchment. If your nuts are super toasted, you can take them out of the pan. I think these are okay, so I'm just gonna leave it there for now. Okay, so back to our butter and sugar mixture. I'm gonna whip it a little bit more. It's almost there. You just want it to be light and fluffy, like a light yellow, and all the sugar chunks be, you know, dispersed. Okay, so that looks good. It kind of looks like whipped cream, right? And then now we're gonna add our bananas and eggs. And the recipe doesn't call for vanilla, but I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla just because I like it. I'll just do that first. Well, Kirkland makes a really good vanilla. All bananas. And all 4 eggs. So it's kind of important to put your eggs in a bowl or crack them in a bowl before you put them into your mixer. Like I never crack it over here and then put the egg in straight. The reason being is that when you crack it on the edge, sometimes little bits of shell fall in that you don't even know. And then sometimes when you just crack it in there, shell falls off and you don't even know either until someone's eating it and they bite into something hard and they're like, what is that? It's happened before. Like I didn't think my teachers were right, but I've done it and it's happened before and I was like, what? And I've had that in other people's baked goods too. And at least I know what it is. But it's kind of like scary, right? When you bite into something hard and crunchy in a baked good. So just to avoid that, you just crack it in a bowl and you can see if there's any shells. Okay. Okay, this is well mixed. This is well mixed, and so now we're just gonna dump this in there. And we're gonna try to mix this as least amount as possible. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna throw in the nuts now. Okay, I put it in here just because I was curious to see how much it is. And it was just about 2 cups. So 2 cups of toasted walnuts. And we're just gonna fold it in. Okay, so I have my 2 pans. I'm just gonna grease it really quick. I probably should have done this before or earlier. And now we're just going to equally distribute the batter into both of these pans. So if you can see, I didn't have to scrape down at all because of this beater. Make sure all the nuts are well incorporated. Usually I would ladle them in just so I can measure, but I think, okay, just so we can be good, okay. Also, when you ladle it in, it's easier to see if you get the same amount of nuts in there too. So the only reason why you want to make sure that you have equal amounts of batter is for the cook time. So if I had to say, this one might be a tiny bit wider, and it's also a darker pan, which means it kind of cooks a little bit faster for some reason. It like just absorbs the heat quicker. And I kind of want to make it equal because I have to run out of the house and my husband's going to have to take out the bread. So I want it to be easy as possible for him. So just smooth it over so you don't get like a big lump in the middle of your bread. These are ready to go. So I'm going to throw it in to the oven for, it says 45 minutes to an hour. I'm gonna go with 50 minutes because my husband's gonna take it out. I have to go pick up the kids from school, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here are the 2 loaves, and sorry I didn't get to like show this to you because out of the oven, just because I had to go pick up the kids. But to test the doneness, you just stick in a toothpick. My husband actually took this out about 30 minutes ago, so they're actually kind of cool. And now I can take them out. I'm going to give one away, or half, so like for 2 people. I'll leave this one on the side. So the easiest way would be just to put the plate on and then flip it over. So if it doesn't want to come out, you can get your knife, probably like a butter knife. Actually, a nice plastic knife is good, and just run it along the sides. So one way, if you have trouble with this, you can cut a rectangle out of parchment and put it down first if, you know, you want an easier time. But that's fine. Just gonna flip it over. I like to use a serrated knife. I have a smaller one, but it's in the wash right now, so we're just gonna use the big serrated knife. Especially since there's nuts, you're kind of cutting through the nuts too, so it's good to use a sharp knife. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a piece, maybe the end piece. It turned out really good, exactly how I wanted it. Sweet, but not too sweet. It has like a lot of walnuts mixed in. So it kind of tastes like a little bit healthy in a way. But yeah, I really like this recipe. So yeah, let me know if you like this recipe and I will see you in my next video.